Welcome, welcome. You all know that you're the best inspiration any person could ever dream of. And I'm so grateful for you. And this idea came from you. And it came from in the store. Someone's learning to sew and they're always bringing me these ideas. And I love this idea. So let's start off with looking at the idea. And I've got the shirt on. I'll tell you what changes I made and why. I'm going to explain it all to you. Then you can decide it's just a fun top. Well, look at the first picture. The designer's name is Joseph Ripkoff. You've probably heard of him before. He's a great little designer, a lot of fun things. But when you look at this picture, I want you to think about what it is you immediately go to, what it is you like, what kind of grabs you. For me, it was just the buttons. It was just the buttons. The impact of the buttons, I just really like that. So, and then we're going to look at the back. And of course the back it's almost leaves you speechless. It's just, oh, so pretty. So this has so many great lessons in it. First off, the lesson is, what do I like and why? So I'm going to show that first picture again. And I'm going to go back and ask you, like, look how high the neck is. I would never wear the neck this high. So I could still like it without the neck being that high. And so I chose to wear it open. If you look at the sleeves real carefully, you notice that the stripe goes a different direction on the bottom of the ruffle than on the sleeve itself. That I didn't want to do because I didn't want more contrast at the bottom of the sleeve. So when you look at these options, I want you to just think about, what do I really like and what could go away? Once I make it, you also can critique mine and say, you know what, I don't like hers. I liked it better in the picture. And you can really get to the point where your garment is yours and you love it and you like every detail of it. And that's where I stand here and that's where I'm at. And it's just really fun. That process is really fun. So let's start the process. Also with this fabric, this is one of the new fabrics that I just put up, and I put up a whole bunch of stripes. You could choose any of them, but we've also got other stripes. 5361, just kind of write these numbers down and go back and look at them. 5361, 5374. I think this is 5411. It would be more jackety, but still has stripes so that you could do different things with them. So go through and just look at fabrics and say, you know, a lighter would make it more of a blouse, a heavier would make it more of a jacket look. And decide what you want it to look like. And again, this is just all fun. So pick your fabric. You want to have something that has a stripe in it so that you get the impact of what the back will give you. If you don't have the back, you won't have the impact. Okay, so first off, get something in mind. I chose the easiest patterns, and what I chose was 600 for the front, 575 for the back. So this weekend, order either of those patterns, now through Sunday. Order either one of those patterns. We'll send you the other one for free. We'll include it. Do nothing. If you order 575, we'll give you 600. If you order 600, we'll give you 575. Okay, Thursday night through Sunday night. Okay, so because and this is a great way to kind of reinforce the fact that we use a base pattern. 600 is our base pattern, Classic Blouse. So the width shoulder is going to match. The armhole, the sleeve is going to match. So all of those things go to 575 Sonya's blouse because they're the same base. So it's really fun to mix and match this kind of stuff to where you can really see the advantage of doing it and not having to start all over with a new pattern. Okay, so we're going to go over pattern changes, fabrics and layouts, and then we're going to go through and do sewing. Okay, so let me grab my pattern pieces just a second. Okay, I have this all down, and I'm going to first off, it's all drawn. It's all drawn. I just wanted to have the pattern pieces in place just to make sure we were on the same page. So if you look at the first change that you're going to make, that is going to be on the center front and the front facing. So this is pattern 600, the center front and the front facing, and typically this facing is meant to wrap around this front, and we're not going to do it that way. We're going to actually sew it right sides together. So you don't need the width of the front facing. So you're going to take away 1 1/8 inch and go all the way down. And then to the front, you're going to add 3/8 and go all the way down. And those are pretty simple changes. Okay, then the next group, you're going to change the collar. And then the collar here, you can see you've got all this design here. You're not going to do that. You're just going to, from the length of the neck edge, you're just going to square it up. And then I cut it narrower so that my collar would not be as narrow if I decided to wear it up. I didn't want my collar to be as narrow. If you decide that you want to lower the neck edge, and the collar will go down with it, as you lower a neck edge, the neck edge becomes longer. So you'll want to lengthen the neckline of the collar also. You'll want to make this rectangle longer. Okay, very easy to do. Again, it's just a matter. I just knew I'd never wear that collar up like that. And if I did, in 5 seconds, it'd be driving me crazy. So I made mine to go down and I lowered the first button. Okay, then the back changes. The back, we're going to 575. You don't do anything to the back yoke. And I've got a back piece and I've got a side piece, if you look at this illustration. Because I'm going to have equal parts in the back, or I want to have equal parts, and you've got 6 pieces in the back of this jacket, whereas this design you only have 3. So easy enough with center back, just put it on a seam allowance. Add a seam allowance rather than put it on the fold. That takes care of 1 piece. Then you could take the side piece and divide it by 2. However, to even things up a little bit, I went ahead and took 1 inch off the back, the center back piece, and added it to the side back before I divided it in 2. That way those 6 pieces are a little more equal. That's your call, but you can see in this change, all you do is you take 1 inch off the center back where it sews to the side back and add it to the side back, and then divide the side back into 2 pieces and add seam allowance to both sides. So now you've got 2 in the middle, 2 on each side. So you've got 6 pieces going across the back. Okay, then the other change we made was to the sleeve. So on the sleeve, I cut this off and I went halfway. And then I decided to add a ruffle. So in order to add the ruffle, which not really a ruffle, but that lower piece, you're going to make it the same length as where you cut off. I made it 5 inches wide, and then I made it 3 inches longer on each side, because the 3 inches is where the overlap is. It overlaps 3 inches. So in order to overlap 3 inches, I've got to add 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on this side. And then you can see that there's my ruffle. And when I had it lapped like this, I curved the edges up. All styling, but so simple to do and fun. So 3 steps, 3 changes. You're going to change the center front because the facing is going to be sewn on differently. You're going to change the collar. You're going to change the back because you're dividing those up. And you're going to make a little change to the sleeve. But other than that, nothing's changing. The shoulder width is the same. The fit is the same. The length is the same. I left all of that the same. Okay, then the other thing we're going to do now, that's all your pattern changes. We're going to talk about laying it out on your fabric. So when you come across and you'll have these pieces, this is my side back, you're going to take a ruler, and I want you to look at this next picture and notice that, and I put a circle on there, that your 1 inch square is angular to a seam. It doesn't matter which side you go on. But what that does is that draws a complete bias onto the piece. You're going to have to put it on both sides because you're going to single cut this. And when you lay it up, you put that line on going with the stripe. And when you lay it down, you put that line going with the stripe. So you're going to cut 1 up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down, and then the back piece is going to be 1 up, 1 down. You've got 3 pieces in the back, one they're going to be 1 up and 1 down, alternating the stripe. And that's what's going to create your chevrons going across the back. For a minute, look at this next picture, then we'll go back. But look at this next picture and you can see that I'm cutting on the bias. And so the stripe that I drew on there is lining up to the stripe on the fabric. I took a picture of when I was cutting them out. You do this with each piece, that's it. It's very simple to do. So on this layout, you can see that it's just going across the body. The sleeve is going across, same place, it's all going across. And then the back yoke is also going across, if you notice that. It's going across. And then the chevron on the back. The sleeve is matching the front. And then the bottom in the original was done the other direction, and the collar was. And I did the collar the other direction, but I didn't want that much focus on my sleeve. The next picture I want to show you is my fabric that I used had this really pretty fringe. So I went ahead and when I was putting the front to the front facing, when I was sewing these two pieces together, I put a little fringe in there. That's just the selvage. So you can see mine has just a little fringe going up and down the front. Okay, the next picture is showing you we have these beautiful buttons. They're on our site. And you don't want to try to ever make a buttonhole to equal the size of the buttons. Generally, you put a snap behind it. So I'm just showing you how to put the snap and which side to leave showing and which side to lay behind. So typically when you go to unsnap it, and if I wanted to, I could just wear it open like a little cardigan. This, I call it the dimple side. I don't know if that's technical. I'm sure it's not actually. The dimple side would be on the left, and then I guess it's the male and the female side. The male side would be on the right. And you want to stitch the button on first and then stitch on the snap, because the snap has like little circles around it. It's really easy. You don't have to go up and down. You can go around and kind of do a little whiplash all the way around. So sew on the buttons first, and then sew the snaps on behind them. And it's easy, really easy to line it up that way so that you get straight across and so your stripes match. When you put on your fabric, you're cutting both sides at the same time anyway, so it's really easy to get those stripes to match as long as your fabric is folded. The next picture I want to show you is the back. Before I show you that back, I want you to look at Joseph Ripkoff's back, because I want you to notice on this back, not all those stripes match. I don't think it's critical that they match. I think you'll get the impact of the design without them matching. And I say this sincerely because now I want you to look at my back, and you can see that some clearly don't match, some do, but you still get the impact of the chevrons going up and down and up and down. And it's amazing. It's just an amazing look. So whether you want to decide to wear it just as like a little cardigan almost, or whether you decide you want to button it up as a blouse, either way, I think it's a great blend of fabrics, and I hope you enjoy. So listen to it as many times as you need to. Go back, buy one or the other. You get the other one free. So you've got both patterns that are available to you now. And let's do a little bit of mix and matching. All right? Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns.